Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
The things you have to do when you're in basic scramble mode. And we've been this way all morning. As I've explained earlier, I don't have my full green screen. I'm getting some new toys here onto the set. So please be patient as we put everything together. Speaking of putting everything together, the Chicago Cubs did something very, very historic. And I'm here for it. Here to help me talk about that, you know her very well. One of my dearest friends from my hometown, the token female herself, Allison Moran. She joins us right now from Chicago. How are you, my dear? Great to have you.
Oh, I am doing fantastic, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm in physical therapy now to get the strength back in my legs and stretch out some of these muscles. When I went to the doctor and I told him what happened, it's like she immediately knew it's from me having to sit in a chair all the time, especially after allowing my toe to heal. And now she's got me in physical therapy and I'm ready to get back at it. I'm ready to get back in the weight room also. So it's great.
You got to be careful, buddy. I mean, you just have to put yourself first, give yourself care. Otherwise, you are going to be in big trouble. Maybe you could get one of those standing desk type things, lift up that mic.
You and my wife are so much alike because she said when she helps me build my studio, that's the first thing she's going to invest in is a desk that will sit as well as stand, because not only does it give me comfort when I'm sitting, it also helps me standing 6'5". When I raise the desk up and I stand. And I saw that at ESPN Radio in Chicago, and I showed my wife that with Lawrence Holmes handling duties there. The next day she comes to me and she says, "This is what I'm going to help you get. I'm going to get you a standing desk because you sit most of the time when you do your games and whatever." So my eagle-eyed wife and you are like right on the same page.
Oh yeah. We, we may never have met, but we are in sync about you, buddy. So we are. I look forward to that day when we get to meet, have dinner or something like that.
It will happen.
I love that.
It will happen. Speaking of happen, let's start with the Cubs and the Angels. And on the Marquee network, there was something very, very, very historic. Tell the folks what happened, Allie.
Well, what happened was that for the first time, the Cubs had an all-female broadcast team consisting of longtime sideline reporter, play-by-play person Beth Mowins, Elise Menaker, and Taylor McGregor. And not so ironically, the Cubs shut out the Angels 5-0. Nice. The Cubs have been very, very progressive this year, if you think about it. The NWSL game that got 35,000 rabid NWSL fans into Wrigleyville and into Wrigley Field. I mean, you've got to think about it. That's damn progressive. Now, why hasn't it happened in the previous 135 or 50 years of baseball in any place? Actually, the Yankees have their play-by-play lady, Suzanne, and she was wonderful, and I give real credit to all those. But we're talking Midwestern sensibility, right? Or in this case, idiocy. To always go after I got no issue with the male players, but look what Jessica Mendoza brought to ESPN. Look at that. I mean, she became a very respected broadcaster. Interestingly enough, I put the comments. I put the oh God, my brain. Sorry, I put it up on my feed that they were going to be doing this broadcast today, on Sunday, and what happened? I get troll comments. I get like, oh, when did the three of them play professional baseball? I said, when did Jack Brickhouse play
Exactly.
professional baseball? When
Exactly.
I mean, Steve Stone, of course he played professional baseball. He was a hell of a
Mhm.
player.
Yep.
But the fact was that there's been Bob Costas. Think about it. This
Oh,
should have
I can
happened.
go down. I can go down the line. If you want to just talk about Chicago broadcasters alone, the fellow who got me the play-by-play bug a long time ago, you know him well, Jim Durham.
Yes, love
The
Jim.
great, the
Love
late
Jim
great Jim,
Durham.
the late great Jim Durham. Jim Durham is and I never had a chance, folks, to tell Allie this, but I will tell her on the air right now. The exact reasons that I got into doing play-by-play it started a long time ago when the Bulls were on WMAQ back in
Oh my
1985. They were playing the Milwaukee Bucks, and I heard the voice of Jim Durham, and I had a simple philosophy at 9 years old. If Jim Durham can do it, so can I.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
called my first game. I called my first game 10 years later at Chicago State in 1995, and I followed Jim Durham when they went to WMAQ up until 1989. Then they switched to WLUP, which of course is now ESPN 1000. I am a Jim Durham fanatic.
As
Okay.
am I.
If I could
He.
be a fanatic about any play-by-play announcer, I have
Mhm.
three from the hometown: Jim Durham,
Mhm.
Wayne Larrabee, and John Rooney.
Yes. By the which way, none of those guys ever played professional ball.
Exactly.
So,
And yet they
and
all knew what they were talking about.
exact.
They all knew what they were talking about. When I had a chance to meet John Rooney in
Oh,
2005, it's like he just said I kept hanging around baseball parks and learning the game that way, and I figured I can have fun being a baseball announcer. That's how I learned, listening to
exactly.
them,
We
listening to
all.
them, and I've met Beth Mowens. Wonderful, wonderful lady. Wonderful lady.
Mhm.
When I was covering the sky back home, had a chance to meet Beth Mowens.
Mhm.
Wonderful lady. Hell of an announcer. Wonderful lady. And I'm so glad to see that kind of progression, not only just in broadcasting, but with the teams hopping on as well.
Exactly. They should do it more often. Maybe let's give them once a month. And
Yep.
frankly, I thought they did a hell of a job. I thought, there's always so much scrutiny. Women have to be perfect in order to do. You're going to see a nail broken. You're going to see everything. The hair's out of place. There's
Mhm.
wind blowing. Oh my God. And I just find it. I find it remarkably sexist when things like that happen.
Mhm.
And the fact is, they're all attractive women, and actually, probably about half the comments were about their looks. The other half of the comments were about their performance skills. I got one person who said Beth Mushmouth. Uh, yeah, yeah, and about one of every 10 comments were positive, like yay Cubs, yay
Mhm.
broadcasting. But
Yep.
here's the deal: they really need to bring them on a regular basis. You know,
Absolutely.
those who, if you have it as a once a year event, the problem is that they're going to be up for scrutiny.
Mhm.
And if you have them on a regular basis, when you
Mhm.
have them on a consistent level where it's no longer such a novelty, then
Right. Right.
you've got the ability to build an audience around this, and have the idea that women are fully fully capable. I mean, I understood baseball before I understood any other sport.
Mhm.
I was a Cubs fanatic from the time I was a baby. My grandmother won't let me get into heaven without being a Cubs fan. Sorry, Grandma. You know, it's the same thing here. You know, I mean, we have a capacity for knowing,
Mhm.
and it shouldn't be such a big surprise that
Right.
women can be that kind of a broadcaster as well. A few years ago, I forget the Bears player who was just incredibly surprised that a woman knew how to question a play in a game, and yeah, what the hell have you been thinking for 40 years? You know,
Exactly.
there's been
I'm happily married to I'm happily married to a football fan. She's a big fan of the Colts as I am of the 49ers.
I
A couple of
did.
times I scheduled her to be on stream with me during a Colts game, but both of those times she was very ill.
Oh
But
dear.
but there have been times, and y'all know Jody, she'll peek in here and she'll pick at me, but she
Mhm.
asks me legit questions. And
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I've had
yeah.
people when we were living in North Carolina, I had people come up to me and say, "Are you surprised she's a football fan?" You kidding me? That's one of the reasons I love Jody. Because she
Oh,
can break a game down with me. Are you kidding me?
that's right. That's right. And my boyfriend is a big basketball fan. Okay, Greg Eisel, I love you. I have to put that out there. Got to tell him he just celebrated birthday number 70, and he is coming around to the WNBA way of life. How
Good,
lucky he is to know me.
good.
Uh,
Yep.
he, he said uh, he said that he would attend a game with me this year
He better.
because yeah, oh God, yeah,
He, he
it's
better.
like it's a
If he doesn't attend a WNBA game, he's got Big Brother to deal with. All
uh-huh.
right,
I
because
love yeah.
when I was hooked on the WNBA well before you and I met, and when you and I got together and started covering games together, man, y'all want to talk about some fun? This lady
Uh,
here on screen with me knows her stuff. Okay, we would bounce questions on and off each other, and Elena Deladon's rookie year, when
mhm.
we were first granted access to go into the locker room after the cooling down period, because they had just changed the policy at
Right.
Rosemont. They had just changed the policy at Rosemont Horizon, because for
Yeah.
the first few years we couldn't go into the locker room. They had to come out to us, and they had a
Right.
stage set out outside the
Right.
locker room. Now,
Right.
when we were allowed to go in, and I said Elena Deladon's rookie year, Allison just turned to me and asked me, "Okay, what are you going to ask her about?" And I
Mhm.
told her right there, it depends on the flow of the game. Well, that
Mhm.
first game that we covered together with Elena Deladon, she only put up a double-double of 30 points and 15 rebounds. Allison looked
Mhm.
at me and I looked at her, and we're both like, okay, we got our line of questions and we know who to talk to. The coach came out, very gracious
Yeah.
coach, came out and talked to us. We were allowed in the locker room. We asked
Mhm.
questions of Elena Deladon's performance and a couple of other people who were
Mhm.
there. Allie Quigley being one, of course, Courtney
Yeah.
Vandersloot was there.
Mhm. Absolutely right.
You get your questions from the flow of the game.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun
Exactly.
covering the WNBA with you.
Yeah.
And it was only a sparse time that you were on the air with me. Now it's weekly. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. And it's fun. Not
Yeah.
I get along with everyone. Okay.
You,
I don't care race, color, creed, or man or woman or whatever. I get along
mhm.
or try my best to get
Mhm.
along with everyone. Have we gotten troll
Mhm.
comments since we revived the token female? Of course. Do you think we care? No, because we're gonna keep
Mhm.
doing this thing. We're gonna keep doing this
No.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We have been. Let's talk about Angel Reese, shall we? And Caitlin
Ooh wee.
Clark. Shall we do that? Let's
It-
talk
it-
about
it's a
13.
collision course
Yeah.
with these two, not only for Rookie of the Year, but as
Mhm.
I said a couple of weeks ago, do not be surprised if a playoff spot is going to hang in the balance. Now,
Mhm.
it seems not only is a playoff spot going to be secure with these two teams as long as they keep playing the way that they are, it's going to be a top 5 matchup
Yeah,
between these two. It's not going to be a top
exactly.
8. It's not going to be 6, 7, or 8. It's going to be a top 5 between these two. Angel Reese
Yeah.
is on fire, setting a WNBA record with 13 consecutive double doubles, breaking the record of her well, Candace Parker.
Right. 13 and counting. I'm,
Exactly.
do you want to take any bets on where this streak will end?
Oh, it'll end in September in the playoffs. I
No,
will say that.
I'm talking about the consecutive streaks of Angel Reese for double doubles.
Like I said, it'll end sometime either in the playoffs or sometime next year. Angel Reese is a monster. Okay,
I love
Angel Reese. Listen, you and I were both very skeptical after the WNBA draft about how Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, for that matter, would fit in the Chicago Sky lineup. You add Kennedy Carter to the equation, who is a master of running that offense. You have Angel Reese in her wheelhouse, and you got Camila Cardoso in her wheelhouse. And Cardoso's game is starting to come together. That jump hook is going to be something else when she really develops it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
With Angel Reese, the only thing that I still question, and she's working on it slowly, is her footwork.
Yeah.
It's her footwork. And with her being a lefty, she should use that to her advantage. But unfortunately, I don't think she's found that yet. And I put the word yet at the end of my sentence.
I agree. Angel Reese has got to work on two things. I agree. The footwork is still a little sloppy, still working on that finesse. Second of all, stay out of foul trouble, lady.
Bingo.
Stay. And who knows how she might get a triple double if she can stay out of it. And like Caitlin Clark did, first rookie to ever do so. That would really make the race interesting. Is if you do have that, if you can get Angel to a triple double, just have that incredible rivalry go week after week after week. I'm guessing that this rivalry will continue for years, for as long as those two are going to be in the WNBA. If you look at the one thing is that Angel needs more she needs so much more that and the thing is that Indiana Fever has managed to adjust their game and improve their record as a result of that. Yeah. And so that's the reason why they leaped ahead to number 7 in the standing over the Chicago Sky. And the thing is that it's going to be very hard for the Sky to reclaim that spot. I mean, they're in the number 8 spot right now. Okay, that's playoffs. But my sincere hope is that against the Atlanta Dream tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern Daylight Time, they're going to be able to take on the Atlanta Dream and really do some damage. They have not been consistently good. They have, as we have talked about 1,000 times here. For that reason, several commentators have mentioned that they would be in the Caitlin Clark camp. For you can't ask for more than what Caitlin Clark has been giving to the Indiana Fever and to the WNBA. 17,000 people where the Atlanta Hawks play last week. It's insane what
Take a look at the
done.
attendance. Take a look at the attendance figures. You sell
Yeah,
out. You sell out New York and the Barclays Center. That's 18,000. Of course, you get easy 13,000 for Connecticut. Not only because Connecticut's a good team, but you got Caitlin Clark in the house. The
yeah,
Cambridge Fieldhouse for the Fever is averaging 17,174. That's been their attendance figure all season. And then
that's
you get
right.
17,000 plus in Atlanta at Phillips Arena. You know they blew out the MCI Center in Washington. And then
Mhm,
just recently they went to Las Vegas and they
mhm,
moved the game from Michelob
mhm.
Arena to T-Mobile, and there was 20,990
Isn't
in
that amazing?
T-Mobile Arena. 20,000 plus.
Yeah, yeah, and unbelievable.
It's
And you know,
crazy.
yeah, and if the Caitlin Clark show continues to keep moving, and I don't see any stopping this momentum,
Me
it's
neither.
going. Yep, it is going to be a unanimous vote
It
for
is.
Caitlin Clark for Rookie of the Year. However, I would really like to see Angel Reese, who is, she leads in rebounds, 11.7 per game.
11.7
God
rebounds per game.
love that. Yes,
Mhm.
and steals 1.4 per game. Her efficiency rating is tops 19.3. I mean,
Mhm.
and she's been the one to take the sky on her back. And 4 out of the last 7 games wins.
And that
Okay,
started with the win over Indiana in Chicago at
right.
Wintrust Arena when they raced back from 15 down, 12 in the fourth quarter, and claimed that game 88-87. That's when I really believe Angel Reese started to assert herself. It was always
Mhm,
there, but it was inconsistent. You can look at the numbers and tell it was inconsistent. You can look at her play on the floor that up until that game in Chicago, in front of 9,800 maniacs, that
mhm,
she finally has asserted her role. What I'm
mhm.
waiting for is for them to move a game from Wintrust Arena to the United Center and open the whole place. You can't
Yes,
tell me you cannot tell me that they wouldn't put 24,000 in the United Center in the blink of an eye if Angel Reese and Caitlin. I'm willing to make you a bet that if a playoff spot hung in the balance, or if they were playing a playoff game, they'd move it to the United Center in a blink.
I I believe that August 20th is the next time they play,
Mm-hmm.
and I would love to see that game at the United Center, and that will be a bit of a crunch time
Mm-hmm.
for the Sky. So
Yep.
I would hope and pray that everybody listening to this broadcast will buy their ticket to that
Please,
game.
please
It's
do.
yes,
Let's sell out all the arenas and have these two affect the WNBA the same way Magic Johnson and Larry Bird did for the NBA back in 1979 when they were
exactly.
drafted. The pieces are
Yeah,
right there. You got the pieces right there. Don't listen, Kathy Engelbert, don't drop the bag, please, because you're in effect with all of this hatred and backbiting and back talking against Caitlin Clark. And people hate when I bring this up, but let me speak the truth here. With all the backbiting against Caitlin Clark and the momentum she's starting to gain from her performances on the floor, and Kathy Engelbert has been silent about this, the golden goose ain't going to be so golden anymore.
nope, that's absolutely right. And they, you know, I think that the same what Caitlin Clark has done so far, the same rule has applied every time. Like I used to get incredible troll comments on my blog, Token Female, because I was advocating for things that nobody advocated for before, like equality
Yes.
in sports. I was
Yes.
pushing for time on regular sports broadcasts for the WNBA, for the NWSL. My comments to all the trolls when I made them were, thank you so much for reading my column. Thank you so much for bothering to make a comment. Please know that this is gone. This is an historic moment, and we are just at the beginning of what's going to be a great revolution. So
Yep.
hope you'll join us.
Yep.
And those were my comments. And I think Caitlin Clark has done something similar. She's like, oh, well, people are going to talk. There's going to be trolls,
Yep.
but they're watching. They're learning a little bit more every day. I mean, she has really taken the high road every single time, which
And
has
that's
been
the big key for Caitlin Clark. She's taken the high road. She hasn't done what Angel Reese has done and saying things like, I guess some people get a special whistle. I'm like, Angel, please take the high road and continue to play ball. Okay.
Mhm,
You're starting to find your groove. You're looking to improve your game on the floor. Don't mess it up by the stuff off the floor. And all that
mhm,
started happening when the Fever and the Sky met for the second time in Indianapolis, and Indiana raced back from a deficit and won that game going away. That's where the
mhm,
special whistle comment happened. Do what some of the old schoolers in the NBA used to do, and that's just take the high road. At that time,
mhm,
however, in the 80s, God bless the golden era of NBA basketball. Everyone took the high road. They knew what their
mhm.
rivalries were, but you save it for
Except
your
for the
competition.
Detroit Pistons.
Yep, you look at your play on the floor and not off it. You mentioned
Exactly.
you mentioned the Detroit Pistons. Man, I was a junior in high school when the bad boy rivalry really took shape because in 1989 the Bulls and the Pistons met for the Eastern Conference title after the Bulls
Mhm.
disposed of the Knicks in 6 games. And then the Bulls stole game one in the Palace. And I went to school I went to school the following Monday, and all of my friends that were rooting for the Pistons, and we had such a grand time talking sports in the lunchroom back then.
Oh yeah.
They came up to me and they just go, how'd you know they were going to steal game one? And I said, look, the Bulls had momentum. Listen, Detroit swept their way to the Eastern Conference final. All right. Detroit had 2 sweeps and they had time to rest. And it's the old
Yeah.
rest versus rust question. And the
Yeah.
Bulls just happened to catch him. But we had so much fun. And I think what I love about the team that I'm putting together here for Snowman Multimedia, you included, is that we just sit and talk sports, man. We sit and
Yeah.
talk sports. There's no politics involved. There's no politics allowed. There's no crazy
Mhm.
around. There's no crazy stuff around this stuff around what we talk about allowed. We just sit here and talk sports 5 days a week, and I love it. I love you for coming on. One more
I love
thing:
you.
top
Mm.
seeds in Wimbledon, like Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek, are gone.
They are
Yeah.
gone. Yes. Interestingly enough, I saw let's put it this way. Coco Gauff lost to a fellow American, Emma Navarro, number 19 in the world. And
Mhm.
what she said was that she had, no matter what the seed, that's a dangerous player and they've earned the right to be there.
Yep.
And so she wasn't surprised. I
Mhm.
think the thing that surprised her was that it was in straight sets,
Right.
6-4, 6-3, and 74 minutes it took to finish off Coco Gauff. What she said was that her head wasn't right. Um, that Emma stayed on the baseline and she timed Coco Gauff's hard balls and mixed up her game quite a bit in order to defeat her. And she said that she had a lot going on mentally that day, and the first game plan wasn't working, and it threw her off. And so she started making decisions against her coach's wishes, and so it just made the momentum go askew, and that's the reason why Coco got lifted off, and it was sad. It was sad for that, but Emma Navarro, in the meantime, is going to go on to play Jasmine Paolini, who's an Italian, in the quarterfinals, and she took out Naomi Osaka in the second round, again in straight sets, 6-4, 6-1. And it'll be interesting to see in this matchup who's going to prevail. Because it's, this is going to be a bloodbath to get into the next round. And, these are younger players, both hungry, both up and coming. And, and it'll be a very interesting matchup when they get to it. But Naomi, it was such a surprise to see those two American players go out so fast and unbelievable. I'm going to pray for Emma Navarro. I can tell you that much, because I'm not seeing anything but a bloodbath and a difficult matchup. I played tennis for 6 years as a kid. Never was I in the league of anybody who was going to be any kind of a champion, even in the River Forest Public League. That was gonna happen. But I can tell you that I'm going to make a prediction now that Navarro, based off of beating Coco Gauff, is going to play to the weakness of Jasmine Paolini, and they are, because that is how she actually beat them. That's how she beat Coco, playing against the weaker forehand that she had. So I'm going to say that as long as she keeps that strategy, Emma Navarro keeps that strategy, she's going to be one hell of a contender for the plate.
Sunday morning, for a particular Saturday morning. I beg your pardon. The ladies' final is on the Saturday morning. The gentlemen's final is on the on a Sunday morning. I've been in and off. I've been on and off of tennis for a long time. I mean, my first two favorite tennis players were Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe, and then a lady named Martina Navratilova struck my heart. Chris Evert struck my heart. Monica Seles struck my heart. So, people don't think I'm well-rounded when it comes to sports. Okay, I just gave you a list of Hall of Famers that I watched growing up in different sports. Let's go back to the WNBA really, 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 really quickly. I've had troll comments of saying, okay, Caitlin Clark brings nothing but a jump shot. Let me see. Against the New York Liberty on May 18th in New York, the attendance, 17,735. Okay?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Against the Liberty, this was June 2nd, 17,401. When they went to Seattle recently, what does Caitlin Clark bring? How about a sellout crowd of 18,343?
How about it? Come on.
Let me read that number. Let me read that number again for those of you who want to troll. Let me say this number again. 18,343.
You got it. Come on. I mean, this is okay. Name me one NBA player, one that's going to do the same thing. Name me one that.
The player I can think of right now that's going to do the same thing would be Stephen Curry.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it.
Steph.
That's it. And we all
I
know
agree.
Michael Jordan did it. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and the like did it back in the day. Isaiah Thomas
Sure.
and the Detroit Pistons always had 20,000 at the Palace of Auburn Hill, 21,000, I
Yeah.
beg your pardon, at the
Yeah.
Palace of Auburn Hills. You see, this is
Mm-hmm.
that my dad got me into reading box scores and the
Mm-hmm.
beyond what they do on the floor. What I would look at is the attendance for every game, and I would memorize some of the figures. The Forum, 17,505. Chicago Stadium, 18,676. Later in the United Center, 24,544. Anybody remember
Mm-hmm.
95-96 when they went 72-10? During the play,
Impressive.
they
Yeah.
always had they always
Remember
had
well.
they always had that. They
Mm-hmm.
always had that. And I'm looking at the attendance right now. The largest crowd this year was when the Fever traveled to Las Vegas. Las Vegas won 88-69. And y'all ready for this number? Listen to me carefully. 20,366.
Yes. How about it?
Fifth
And
most
okay,
attendance game since 1999. Largest game in Las Vegas, largest WNBA attendance in Las Vegas. She
I
has
love.
sold out every single game where she's played home and road. They're averaging
Mhm.
17,000 plus at Gamers Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Let me read that number one more time, folks. If you don't think there's a Caitlin Clark effect, listen to this number again. Listen to this again. They moved the game from Michelob Ultra Arena, which seats 13,000 plus. They moved it to T-Mobile Arena, home of the Vegas Golden Knights, and this number should not shock you. 20,366.
That is so amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, would it have happened with any other player? Let's put it this way: it hasn't happened with every
Period.
other player.
Period. I haven't seen stuff like this. I haven't seen things like this since Michael Jordan played, and he sold out every arena in the joint. Every single one. I mean, hell, his final regular season game in 1998 in Atlanta. And this is before Cowboy Stadium was built. This was before the NCAA was putting 70,000 people in seats. Okay? His final game, Michael Jordan's final game in
Sorry.
Atlanta. It's all right. Michael Jordan's final game in Atlanta, 62,046 to break a record.
That was so amazing. I mean, it's the thing is every WNBA game that Caitlin Clark has ever played has been event watching. It's been must see TV, and that is the reason um, why this is the moment in the WNBA to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again, sorry about I don't know what button I pushed, but
It's all right. Listen, honey, we're live 5 days a week. Do you realize how many wrong buttons we push here on a daily
Yes.
basis for 120 minutes? Look at this attendance in Washington when they played the Mystics to a 2-point game, 2-point victory, 85-83. I mentioned 20,366 at T-Mobile, 20,333 in Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
20,333 in Washington.
Amazing.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
It is. Well, if I were, someone who shares the ball as well as she does, hits the 3-point shots, hits and delivers 19 points, 12 assists, and 13 rebounds against the Liberty.
Yep. The top team in the league. The top team in the league, mind you. And in that particular game, which I had a chance to watch, and Jody watched it with me, the Fever raced out to a 15-point lead. The Liberty, the top team in the league with Sabrina Ionescu, who is a favorite of mine, came all the way back and they took a double-digit lead. And then Indiana got pissed off and said, "Oh yeah, watch this." They raced all the way back and win going away. 83-78.
exactly. They really stuck it to them, and you gotta love it. But I will take watching her get 16.1 points per game and 7.4 assists. I will do that.
I'll do
I
that every
will
time.
watch every game. Yes, I would do that every single time. And at the same time, it's exciting basketball.
It
You
really is.
know, it is. It's like a dream come true because you've got that incredible energy and the momentum of the crowd. You've
Mhm.
got the momentum of the team actually being able to read each other well and being able to form that chemistry as in a really a very short amount of time when you
Mhm.
consider how long this season has gone on.
Yep.
So it's been just the best ride of our lives, hasn't it, Brian?
And remember, they haven't seen Dallas since the preseason. That was
That's
their second
right.
preseason game. They have to go to Dallas. Don't be surprised if that gets moved to American Airlines Center. All right.
Yeah.
They went to Phoenix and won in Phoenix. Let me pull this attendance number up while we're talking about attendance. Oh, there's no Caitlin Clark effect, huh? 17,071 at America West Arena. And I know it's called the Footprint Center, but I'm old and I'm old school. When that place opened in 1992, and you know it well, Allie, it was America West Arena.
That is absolutely right.
It was
And
America, it was America West Arena.
yeah, it was. And I know. And Rosemont Horizon became Allstate Arena, and it's been
Yep.
Allstate Arena ever since. You said
Mhm.
Rosemont Horizon before.
It's
And
the Rose.
so
It will always be the Rosemont Horizon to me. It will always be the Rosemont Horizon.
mhm. The place where I saw Tina Turner, the place where I saw, let's see, gosh, back in the 80s, I think John Fogerty played there. I think, we got through as many concerts there as humanly possible. Saw Shania Twain there not too long
Yep.
ago. People like that.
Mark,
But this was the home of the Sky for what the first, after the UIC after UIC Pavilion, which is called something else now.
mhm,
They
mhm.
got their corporate sponsorship. Um, we had, um, and now we've got the Wintrust Arena, and I'm guessing that for this. For this upcoming matchup, like we said before, it's going to be in the United Center for the
I
Sky
want to
and
see
the Beaver.
24. I want to see 24,000 so bad. Watch
Yeah.
these two, not just in the regular season, but God help us in a playoff match. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine
And
these two teams playing a 2 out of 3 in the Eastern Conference final?
I can't wait.
Oh
Just to
boy.
see, just to see, Brian, how many um, uh, the All Star game, the WNBA All Star game, is coming up in a little over, let's see, about 11 days from now,
Yep. Yep.
and
11 days.
and I want to know what is the capacity again?
17,
What?
17. It's in Phoenix, and it's going to be
Okay,
it's
yeah,
17,000 plus. I will say this: there's going to be at least 18,000 there for the All Star game. I I can pretty much guarantee that, especially with all the press being there, extra fans
mhm,
being there. Caitlin Clark's an All Star, Angel Reese is an All Star. There's going to be at least
mhm,
18,000 people there. I
yeah,
see it. I
and
see it.
again. Yeah, and the check to see what the ticket prices are on that, just out of curiosity.
You really want an answer to that question?
I do.
Well,
I
let's find out.
do.
Hey, listen, this is why we do live research. It'll
Yeah,
be in Phoenix,
and
and
those
the ticket
ticket prices.
prices, oh dear. Um I'm just looking on the SeatGeek site. They say they got tickets from, oh boy, from $160. So,
Okay.
and this is on SeatGeek. So you already know if you try to go to America West Arena's website and buy tickets for the WNBA All-Star game, you ain't getting any.
That's right. Yeah. And this
You're not
will be
you're not getting any.
not unless you want to pay a nice scalper. That's about all you're going to be able to do.
This year, the
Yeah,
WNBA All-Star game is going to feel like the Super Bowl because of the
it will.
players involved.
Yes, and because they're playing Team USA.
Yep.
Um, I will be very curious to see if the WNBA All Stars are going to seek and exact a revenge when Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are on the same team together.
Well,
I
do you
mean,
think?
just think about it. This is going to be a very big deal. I mean, I I cannot imagine that the WNBA All Stars will lose. I mean, we can talk about it more next week, but I can.
I really don't care who wins or loses. All I know, this is a 200-point game waiting to happen, and someone's going to walk them off. It doesn't matter which side it'll be the first to 120 points will win the game, even though they're playing 10-minute quarters instead of 12. Who cares? Right. This is 120. This game is going to be played at a 120-point pace on both sides, and the rules should be instituted right now. Whoever gets to 120 points first wins. And I bet you it's going to be like a 120, 119 kind of game with these two teams. You kidding me? This is going to be fun.
It is going to be fantastic. I am so looking forward to this game, to this matchup. I mean, more than many recent WNBA All-Star games, and I am so looking forward to seeing these matchups. Here's what I'm worried about, though, in WNBA. I'm really worried about Brittany Griner.
Yes.
Aren't you?
I
am worried because I don't think that there's been as much. I don't know if the prison experience took something out of her or if she's just aging gracefully out of the WNBA.
I think she's worn from the prison experience. I really think she's worn, and it's affected her mentally. You can see it. I can see it. It's really affected her mentally, and I hate that because she's one of the stars of the league, and you want to pay your good money, and you want to see the stars of the league. And Brittany Griner, it just seems like she can't get back in her groove, and I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that because she was a house of fire until that incident happened where she was in a prison.
Yeah,
and anybody that's going to prison or any kind of jail, it'll take a lot out of you.
It certainly will, and I mean the trauma that she had during that time. She has been very honest about it. Certainly, we saw her interview on ABC, and she is still dealing with a ton of trauma.
Oh my gosh!
And I get that. She can no longer stand to wear her beautiful braids. Because
she's changed so much.
Yeah,
since that incident happened, and I'll tell you what, man, I worry for her also because her thing, it's not the same as she once was when she first came into the league. It's not. It's definitely not the same when she played at Baylor, because when she was at Baylor, she was just as same as Caitlin Clark was, same as Angel Reese. Brittany Griner was a madhouse.
Yeah. And her rebounding this year has just been atrocious, and it has been a very, very, very difficult situation for the Mercury. It's going to be difficult when she's going to the Olympics because, again, I don't know what trauma she might have faced, but she's boarding an airplane, going chance, what is that going to do? I
Mhm.
sincerely hope that she is getting very good help from a trauma informed therapist.
Same.
And that is because that is very sincerely the only way that she is going to feel better
Mhm.
and turn to the proper form. It's
Yeah.
going to it and it takes a time. Either that, or I would like to see her gracefully retire at the end of the season. She and her wife are expecting a baby, and
That
you
would be the
know,
perfect way for her to go out on top. That would
it
be the
would.
perfect way for her to go out on top with that, because I'll say it again, you've said it before off the air to me, she's not the same person. She's not the same player. She's
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah,
say she's not the same player, and she's not the same person at all. And I've always been, you realize the extent of what you did wrong when you go through what Brittany Griner has gone through. It is very true that if you do the crime, you have to do the time, period.
mhm,
And
yeah,
I stand by everything I said when I weighed in on this a year ago. She needed to know and comply to the rules when you are traveling across borders. And on top of that, she was told by her teammates not to go. And that's when the conflict was the conflict had just really started getting into high gear. It
yeah,
really just started getting into high gear. Word started traveling around, and her teammates knew that if she went, she was going to put herself in a situation. Lo and behold, bingo, she puts herself in a situation, and now you're wondering what the hell has happened to Brittany Griner. Tell you what happened to Brittany Griner: a lack of compliance. And I was never afraid to say this. You were the first one to applaud me when I weighed in on this, but a lack of
mhm,
compliance has led to this. And if she gracefully retires, then basically all is forgiven. And
yeah,
I applaud her for trying to get her game back, but
yeah,
everything about her game has crumbled. It's crumbled.
yeah. She's no longer the same Britney, and if you put side by side comparisons,
Right.
with with Phoenix, as long as uh, it just is no longer Britney that we know,
It isn't.
and so I'm looking forward to the day when she can be honest with herself, for one thing. I don't know really what keeps her in the WNBA,
Yeah.
except that I think she wants to try and do what she's done for the
Mhm.
last, 29 out of 35 years perhaps of her life,
Yeah.
is to have this just to to play basketball. I know she
Right.
loves the game. I know
Yep.
she loves
Yep.
what she does. But the thing is, um, emotional emotional turmoil will
Is
wreak havoc on whatever your performance can be. We've all faced traumas in our lives, and if we don't deal with them um, at the best level possible, it's going to be very difficult to resume our normal lives. I
Mhm.
see it, in my writing and in my
Mhm.
in my broadcasting. If I'm not there,
Right.
that things suffer, and so I've gone through it personally, trying to get the mojo back,
Mhm.
and it's not easy.
No,
And
it's not.
you
It's not.
you
I
you
went through it. I've been out
yeah,
2 and a
yeah,
half years dealing with different health problems and
yeah,
trying to get this show back on track, getting my other shows back on track, and my play-by-play calls that I do
mhm,
virtually, which I decided today through the help of a friend of mine, I'm lessening those because it's not the same to me.
yeah,
And when I did the remote games with UNCG, North Carolina Greensboro, I thought,
Mhm.
okay, maybe I discovered something. I'm
Mhm.
old, man. I miss being in the booth. All right.
You still look so young, Bry.
Oh, you are a doll. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be 52 in a couple of weeks.
Oh, my.
I've been at this 29 years, almost 29 years. The most excitement that I get is when I'm at an event. It
Yeah.
ain't the same doing it. It's not the same doing it virtually, especially when you've done it as long as I have. You have the headset on with the mic in front of you. You got the fans in front of you. And
Mhm.
the first sport I ever loved was baseball. Hell,
Yes.
the person that took I went to a Sox game in 1998 when they played the Bass Brothers and the Oakland A's, and I had a little recorder in my pocket. And Robin Ventura walked us off with a walk-off home run, and I yelled my brains out like I was doing a broadcast there.
I know. That's how every great play-by-play man started. And, you
Listen,
know,
Dick
doing that.
Enberg, the great Dick Enberg. That's how he
Yeah.
started before he went to Central Michigan. He went
Right.
to a game, he went to a kids game and started mimicking everything. That's how I've done it for years.
Exactly.
And my wife, my beautiful, beautiful wife understands. And what she does to keep me motivated, she'll come in and zing me about something that I said. She'll just come behind me and go, "Nuh-uh, you got that wrong." And I'm in a fit of laughter.
That's why she's perfect woman for you, Bry. That
Exactly.
is,
Exactly.
yeah.
Hey,
We all
folks.
need our partners.
Yep. The token female is alive and well, despite what trolls will say. But the revolution is no longer in words, it's on video. And it's
Yeah.
right here on Snowman in the Morning. Thank you, Allison, my dear, so much for coming aboard. I appreciate you. I love you. And I'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Love you too, Bry. You have a good week,
Thank
okay?
you. Thank you very much. Every time she's on, it's a hoot, it's a riot, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. That's the token female whom you can see every single week, Tuesday mornings, about this time. I got to get the heck out of here because I got some meetings to take care of. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. And next week, I promise you, Allie, I'll have your intro ready. Mwah. I love you guys. Song, everybody.